calm manner to try and understand what you were thinking. So on Saturday evening, hours after the shooting, you said, let me clarify, when I say conflicted, what I mean is I lean towards seeing it as a natural extension of the thing Trump and the MAGA kids support. So I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt enough to chastise people celebrating it. You couldn't find it in your heart to chastise people for celebrating the near assassination of a man who was president of the United States and maybe again?
Absolutely not. Conservatives have completely bled that well dry. And the idea that they, after engaging in the most divisive and most extreme rhetoric that this country has seen in recent history, that they would come on and beg for sympathy, that it's escalated into some kind of violent confrontation is absolutely insane. Even the idea right now of saying, well, if you call somebody a Nazi for so long, it's, you know, what do you expect people to do? I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh call Obama a communist every single day he was on the radio. You've got conservatives that talk about how the mRNA vaccines were ways to sneak microchips into us. You've got COVID lockdowns that were done because the government was trying to take all your freedom away. They won't acknowledge anything that happened on January 6th. They say that the election was stolen and that your country is being taken from you. Like, I don't think anybody should be killed. I don't think anybody should go out and kill anybody. But when you engage in this type of rhetoric and when you turn the temperature up over and over and over and over again, there is absolutely no room for you to be shocked or surprised. And there certainly isn't room for you to ask for sympathy.
But you say,
damn, that's crazy. Bro's saying you can't even ask for sympathy and you're not even allowed to act surprised is a wild thing to say. But all right, bro. Let's hear him. Let's hear him.
Destiny, you say you don't want anybody killed, and yet you say, I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt to chastise people celebrating it. It's people celebrating the near assassination of Donald Trump. If you can't find it in you to chastise people who do that, aren't you just as despicable as the people you've just spent the last 2 minutes haranguing?
Yes.
No, because they've led the way. This is the environment that they've created.
So you think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
Because this is the environment that they created? Bro, that's like, I don't know, that's like Nazi German logic. Like, oh, well, since the Nazis are the ruling power, I may not agree with them, but let me just go along with them just cause. Like, you know, it's the environment that they created. It's like, what? Would you want to be better?
Not about behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on a show? Not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence, and blah blah blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it. January 6th.
Violence,
that was
that's
a false
good.
flag.
Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
Wait. First off, there's an entire cultural machine that has lied. There is an entire
we just saw it in real time. That's it.
What?
That's why conservatives deserve absolutely zero sympathy for anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric.
I don't know. There's a lot of BS going around that whole January 6th thing. Like, I still don't see it as an insurrection. I see it as a riot. And I'm gonna be real with you. Well, an insurrection is damn near part of the people's right. So I ain't saying that what they were doing was okay. I'm just saying that, well, it'd be a protest or insurrection. It was still within the people's right.
That's it. It's so easy. Like, it's so simple.
Okay, but I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I would say this is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this. He's had his brains blown out because he was defending his wife and daughter. I would hope that you have a little empathy for that.
Let me jump in there because we have a clip of what Destiny has said about that very thing. Let's listen to this.
I got a clip.
Fuck it. Fuck the dude. The firefighter guy, fuck Trump, fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay, just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am, 100%.
I mean, I got to say, I just found that repulsive, Destiny.
Like, bro. Over an ideology, over just me thinking, over us having a difference in what governing, you'd want to see me dead. You just want to see me dead, and then you're not even gonna say, "Damn, rest in peace. He was a good guy, at least." It's like, what? That makes, oh man, yeah, this guy's on some demon time right now.
Yeah, I wish that there is no room.
Maybe it's
there
divorce.
is no
It might be the divorce.
hand wringing, and I will not participate in this anymore.
Oh, it's not hand wringing.
The hand wringing. No, it absolutely is.
No, it's just that you are positioning yourself.
So well.
No, but Destiny, let me explain to you.
Conservatives can say anything.
No, I'm not a
They can
conservative.
have any conspiracy theory.
not a
They can
conservative.
have any plot. They can do any of these things. And then liberals are
All right,
supposed to sit here and be like,
Destiny,
oh my
no.
God, it's so tragic.
No, Destiny.
Absolutely not.
Let me explain.
Absolutely.
Let me explain my position, because I'm not a conservative. I'm not on either side in your race, right? Here's what I think about what you did. You'd like to fire off, as you've done so far in this debate, about your fury at how disgusting Republicans are, how inhumane they are, how they never have any empathy, blah, 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 blah. And then you yourself actually...
How they're dictating one in hillbillies is like, come on now. Come on now, we remember.
are exactly the person that you're describing. You are inhuman. You are somebody who seems almost gleeful that a young firefighter with a family, with a wife and children, who he was protecting as he was shot dead, that he deserved what was coming to him because he went to a President Trump rally, a man who was president of the United States until recently for 4 years and maybe again. You sound almost gleeful, Destin, and I'm sorry.
That
makes you, frankly, despicable.
I don't think I'm gleeful about anything. I don't think anybody should die. I don't think anybody deserves to die. But you want to talk about gleeful? Look at the conservative response to Pelosi's husband when they broke in.
Hold on.
Mainstream media.
Bro didn't die though. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, conservative went after Pelosi's husband. But let's keep it a buck though. Big Money Pelosi has been doing insider trading for years and been scamming the damn near market for years, been stealing money out of investors' pockets for years, and is still getting away with it. So I don't condone violence, but maybe they should just smack them upside his head instead. But yeah. Come on now. At least we know he did something wrong.
I can answer that.
I don't care.
I can answer that.
With all due respect, I don't care what your answer is.
Let me answer that.
The reality is that conservatives have been turning the temperature up on the rhetoric. They have been making fun of these types of events for years, and now when something happens to them, now they're looking for sympathy from the liberal side. Absolutely not. It's insane. It's unhinged that you can conduct yourself in such a manner and expect people to feel sorry when things happen.
Why should anybody on the right listen to a word of your hectoring and lecturing about how they should behave? And by the way, for the record, the mockery of Nancy Pelosi's husband when he was attacked by an intruder with a hammer was also despicable, right? I can see despicable behavior on all sides, and I'm happy to call it out when I see it. You, however, want to present yourself as this great kind of standard bearer of decency who sees outrageous behavior on the right time and again and is incensed by this disgusting, inhumane behavior. And yet time and again, since the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, you have displayed exactly the same kind of inhumane behavior. Fuck him about a fireman who is killed because he attends a rally of a guy he wants to vote for.
My issue with the MAGA kids is not that they are not empathetic. My issue is that they support a president that led an insurrection against the United States.
Bro, come on now. If that's all y'all got, and that's not even proven, that is just push propaganda at this point. It is not proven that Trump led that is an insurrection. Actually, it's not even proven that it was an actual insurrection. Let's be real. It was a protest at first. But then y'all turned it in. Well, they turned it into an insurrection.
I'm not here to tone police over their empathy.
80 million people voted for Donald Trump last time around.
That's great. 80 million people voted for a guy that tried to insurrect the government, and it looks like they might try to do it again. I mean, like, I don't know what you want me to say. These are the facts on the ground. The idea that
you don't like attacks on democracy. So presumably you would unreservedly condemn the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, because that's one of the most egregious attacks on American democracy in modern times. Presumably, you will take this opportunity, given you are so determined to protect the integrity of democracy, you would find it absolutely outrageous that someone has tried to assassinate a president, right?
I would.
If the other conservatives on this show want to say that it was absolutely outrageous.
Bro, I'd have thought it was crazy if they did try to assassinate Biden, Harris, anybody. I'd have just thought, like, yo, this is unacceptable. But the fact that it's Trump and y'all just hate this man who's a father, a husband, and all this, y'all hate him that much where y'all just say, I don't care, he can die. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, what type of inhumane, like, shit are y'all thinking?
No, I'm asking you. To coup the government.
I'm asking you.
Then I would. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get on my knees and beg for forgiveness or show sympathy to conservatives.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you to condemn what happened as an egregious attack on democracy. Can you do that?
No, I won't. No, I won't.
You can't do that. You see, so why the hell, frankly, Destiny,
absolutely not.
Why the hell should we listen to a word you have to say?
Wait, hold on. Why do you think conservatives haven't been listening to a word that liberals have said about anything for 8 years? What do you think is going to change? You think the
here's my
liberals
point,
come out
Destiny.
and they go, "Oh my God, this was so horrible."
But here's
they're
my
going to go,
point.
"Wow, that is true." Maybe
Wait a
Donald
second.
Trump should also like
Charlie,
turn the rhetoric down a
Charlie,
little
I'll bring you in at the end of this. I promise you, and you'll get a good chance to respond. But here's my problem, Destiny, with your whole position on this, right? Is that you don't actually have anything inside you that you want the other side to have. You don't have any of the empathy. You don't have any sympathy. You don't care that someone tried to assassinate Donald Trump. You don't care that a young fireman with a family was killed in the process. You don't actually. You are not the person you want these other people to be. And all you do is play whataboutery with every question I give you. And I'm just startled.
It's not what about it. We're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about the temperature of this country. But here's a question for the two panelists. What percentage of this event happening was due to Donald Trump's rhetoric? What do they think the answer to that question is?
What percentage could it be that the other side, as we
I'm sorry, but like, doesn't matter what his rhetoric is. Bro, he shouldn't get shot. There's people who disagree with Biden about how he's spending our tax money. Nobody's tried to shoot Biden. Like, let's be real. Like, it's unacceptable either way.
You've just heard from Dave Rubin, has spent 8 years calling Donald Trump the new Adolf Hitler, a person who was responsible for the murder of 12 million people, including 6 million Jewish people in a Holocaust. Last time I checked, Donald Trump hasn't murdered 12 million people. So much as you would like him to be the new Hitler, he's not. But again, to an impressionable young deranged mind who has easy access to guns, that can be easily interpreted as an existential threat, said President Biden. Somebody that needs to be put in the bullseye, said Biden.
Okay,
only last week. And guess what? Guess what? Somebody then comes forward and tries to kill the existential threat.
Rhetoric? Who is engaged in more divisive rhetoric over the 8 years? If you had to guess, if you had to assign a rough percentage,
again, you're playing whataboutery. Again, you're.
More divisive rhetoric. I still give that to the Democrats, and I'm gonna tell you why. BLM was pretty damn divisive. The hyping up of George Floyd was pretty damn divisive. But then again, you know, there's people who wouldn't want to blame that on the Democrats. But hey, though, you know, there's some of us who know a little bit better.
Somebody then comes forward and tries to kill the existential threat.
Rhetoric? Who is engaged in more divisive rhetoric over the 8 years? If you had to guess, if you had to assign a rough percentage,
again, you're playing whataboutery. Again, you're deflecting. Just as President,
it's not whataboutery.
Just as Joe Biden did last night. Just as Joe Biden did with Lester Holt on NBC last night. Every time he was asked, "Have you done any soul searching about your own rhetoric, your own ill-advised use of language?" He deflected it back to attacks on Trump. And you're doing exactly the same thing with Republicans.
And I will do the exact same thing.
You say Republicans
you want Biden
you say that they are lacking in
comment when Donald Trump was saying Second Amendment people could maybe do something about Hillary Clinton. Like, no, it's absolutely deranged. The double standard that's being asked here is insane. And you heard both of them say it earlier. How much did Donald Trump's rhetoric contribute to the current environment? Oh, not much at all. Like, no,
I agree with you. Well, how much would a Donald Trump assassination have benefited Biden? It's like, come on now.
I'm not going to say anything to these people. Of course not.
You see, Destiny,
seem oddly unversed in any of the current events that have happened over the last couple of years. First off, politics is downstream from culture, right? And what has happened to our culture in the last 8 years? What has happened to our culture is that the mainstream media has lied about everything, always to the detriment of right-leaning people, whether it is the Russia hoax or COVID or Brett Kavanaugh's a serial rapist or the Covington kids are racist or Jesse Smollett was was lynched, or whether it was very fine people on both sides. Every single lie always goes against right-leaning people. So they are slightly annoyed and distrustful of people like you and other people in mainstream media who lie about literally everything. So perhaps
literally everything, like biolabs and Nazis in Ukraine, or like mRNA vaccines that are causing
Nazis in Ukraine is crazy, because there is Nazis in Ukraine. There really is. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that is not nothing that's made up.
20% excess deaths. There it is. Yeah, or the fact that COVID lockdowns were going to go on forever, and it was just an authoritarian abuse of power. Or, yeah, of course. Like, come on, dude. Conservatives are masters of misinformation, and it's happening right here.
All right, let me bring in Charlie. He's been waiting very patiently.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's some of them things that are conspiracy theories, but then there's some of those things that are really actual facts. Like, Nazis in Ukraine is an actual fact.
Charlie, thank you for being so patient. Things have obviously got quite heated quite quickly. Let me give you your chance now to have your say after what you've been hearing from Destiny.
Yeah, well, first of all, Destiny represents to me a certain subsect of the left, I won't call it everybody, who likes to bully others into saying exactly what they want to hear. And if they don't
Hey, we got 5 of y'all on Rumble and 4 of y'all on YouTube. Make sure to like the video. Appreciate the support.
say it, then you all of a sudden are the problem. And they handle it exactly like he's been handling it on the show. It's like a child throwing a temper tantrum. You can't get a word in edgewise. They just kick and scream and yell until you ultimately say, I've had enough. Just say what you want to say and back down. And that's exactly what we see a lot of times from people on the left. And it infuriates me, because just like we saw on Saturday with the near assassination of Donald Trump, which that is exactly what it was. It was an assassination attempt, yet we have, Dave, like you mentioned, all of the mainstream media putting out egregious headlines such as from CNN, Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startles former president and crowd, which completely mistells what actually happened.
Accurate. Here it is. This is the conservative. This is the game right now.
It is not accurate.
No, that's actually
right now. You know, Fox News.
Bro, y'all try to say that he got hit with glass. Like, what are you talking about? Y'all really try to say this man did not get shot, but he got hit with glass? Come on now, is y'all for real?
Listen. First of all, we are allowed
right?
in this country to ask questions. There was a lot of things that were very off on Saturday,
and other
from the way that the Secret Service handled.
So, I love this country. God bless, I guess. Yeah.
You can see. There you go. He immediately resorts to,
here we go.
Call you idiot. And that is exactly the childish demeanor that I'm speaking about. On Saturday,
don't talk over each other. Let me just ask you this, Destiny. You were asked on that clip we played earlier if you'd have the same attitude.
Missed the point. He was making the point of how they radicalized the news and pretty much saying that, oh, well, it was this loud noise and Trump ran away. And it's like, bro, y'all know that's not what happened. And it's egregious how bad y'all misinterpreted or
It's your parents who've been killed at a Trump rally.
Right.
And you replied, it's less end-of-life costs for me. Would I lose sleep over it? No. Do you understand how grotesque that sounds?
It sounds grotesque, but the environment that we're in right now is grotesque.
But why do you want to sound grotesque? I don't understand.
You cannot engage in behavior that leads us to this point, that brings us to the precipice, and then say, wait a second, are you taking this a little bit too far?
So just to be clear, hang on, Dave. Just to be clear,
because of what conservatives have said.
Just to be clear, Destiny, if it was close members of your family or close friends who had gone to that Donald Trump rally and who'd lost their lives, one did, and two are critically wounded, if they had died there, you would lose no sleep over that. Is that your position?
No, of course I would be sad. It would be tragic, of course. And the closer they are to you, the more sad it would be. The same way that if you had a child that, tried to rob a store and the child got killed by the police, that would also be tragic and sad.
So you wouldn't think fuck them because they're your family then? You'd have a different rule for your own loved ones.
Would I feel more upset if a person very close to me died rather than a person farther away died? Yeah, I think the answer there is yes.
Yeah, but you weren't just just to be clear, you weren't just not upset by the death of that firefighter who'd given great service as a firefighter to his country. You were gleeful and you said, fuck him. Fuck him.
I'm not.
Would you say fuck them if it was your family and friends?
It was a Trump supporter.
I would say that if they go to a rally like this and they support an insurrectionist president and something happens to them, I would feel sad on a personal level because they're my parents. But again, I learned from them more than anyone else. I grew up in Nebraska. You learn that if you mess around and if you do dumb stuff, that there are going to be consequences.
And would you think? All right. And would you be happy to say, you know what, fuck them? About your own parents.
His rhetoric is far more dangerous than I've ever heard anything that Donald Trump said. What he's saying right there, he is saying you should have no empathy or sympathy for your fellow human. We can all disagree. We can disagree about politics, of course, and we can even disagree about how the media frames things and everything else. But he's basically saying show up to a rally and get killed, and that is absolutely psychotic. I'm sorry. And the other part of this that's strange when people are calling for unity right now is if this had happened to Joe Biden, if Joe Biden had been shot at and had part of his ear blown off, the very people calling for unity right now would be calling for the rest of us to be put in jail. So there's a strange asymmetry there as well.
And I would ask this.
The strange asymmetry was Biden trying to make a phone call to the wife of the killed firefighter, and and her rejecting the call and Donald Trump not even reaching out. Okay, that's the asymmetry.
Wait,
when you
what?
talk about it's just politics, this is the cancerous brain rot that conservatives have fooled everybody into thinking. It's not just politics to think that vaccines will kill you. Okay, I've got 3 dead family members from COVID.
Unhinged. Yeah, he's unhinged right now. Destiny's off the chain, bro. Somebody take him off the Percocets, whatever he on right now, man, because this man is wild.
Mom won't get a vaccine. Okay, after both of them were in the military, these guys went up and down.
I'm not vaccinated, thank God. Nobody in
Don't worry,
this
we can
studio
all
is
tell. We
vaccinated,
can all
thank
tell.
God.
My parents went up and down a line when they did basic training for the Air Force. They got 20, 30 vaccines each. My dad has a vaccine injury in his shoulder, and the idea of not getting vaccinated was unconscionable to them until the conservatives spread these messages that are just politics.
Let me ask you this, Destiny. Let me ask you this,
when the science has shown that the vaccine actually was one of the worst things you could have done for yourself. Thank God I didn't get vaccinated. I thank God every single day I didn't get vaccinated.
Let's not get. I don't want to get. I don't want to get back into COVID. I don't want to get back into COVID. Right?
Yeah,
y'all
gonna start saying some wild
the
things.
symmetry of it all.
Hang on, Charlie. I don't want to get down into COVID again. I want to stick to this story, and I want to ask you, Destiny, about Elon Musk, who is responded to one X user who was calling for him to demonetize you on the X platform. And he said, you're right, this is not appropriate content for advertisers because of the offensive tweets you were aiming at Trump supporters. What is your response to Elon Musk?
The same response as it always has been. Elon Musk is a thinly veiled, I would say, like anti-woke, anti-SJW, basically right-wing supporting guy.
And fire, bro. If Elon Musk took Twitter, what made you think YouTube ain't gonna react? What made you think Twitch ain't gonna react, dog? It's like if Twitter kicked you off. Oh yeah, it's my. Hey, it might be rap for Destiny.
Say things that they don't like. Of course, they'll demonetize you. They'll cancel you. Conservatives are some of the least principled people in the universe when it comes to freedom of speech. As soon as they have any power to demonetize or spam report somebody's, sponsors or anything like that, of course, conservatives will jump onto it. Damn. My account also was demonetized, I think, in like 12 hours. Thank you very much, Elon Musk. Although I do notice that my docs has been floating around Twitter for 2 days now, and tons of accounts that I've been reporting that haven't been banned yet. But I'm glad we got our priorities straight there.
Again, here's what I think we're all struck by. Your position seems to be that anyone from Donald Trump to his supporters who represents their thinking, their ideology, their political views, that if they are killed by an assassin at a rally, then they deserve what's coming to them. And in your words, fuck them. I mean, do you not understand that to most decent Americans and to decent people around the world, that is incredibly offensive and makes you look like a two-faced hypocrite, somebody who wants the other side to behave
on Rumble
to a
and 3 on
certain
YouTube,
level
man. Appreciate the
decency,
support.
I don't want
but
the
he's
other.
himself incapable of displaying it.
The conservatives don't have it in them to have that level of decency.
So why don't you rise to a higher bar? Why don't you yourself show them the promised land, Destiny? Show them the way they should be behaving.
Have been doing it for 8 years. There's nothing to be gained there. So instead, we'll just have a laugh instead. When you're asking for this type of decency, you're saying like they did for Pelosi's husband, like they did for BLM people, like they did for the endless. He didn't die, but he got the crap beat out of him with a hammer, and they made jokes about his gay lover.
And by the way, the jokes were disgusting. Why can't you say the same thing about the people making mockery of Trump? Why do you join the mob?
It's not just the jokes. It's the underlying substantive analysis as well. It's the lack of responsibility for January 6th. It's the lack of responsibility for the Gretchen plot. It's the lack of accountability for all the comments made about BLM protesters, George Floyd,
by your yardstick,
for all of these.
By your yardstick, what the Republicans should do in response is simply say, "Fuck all of them. Fuck them all. Who cares?"
Piers, that's what you're not understanding. Piers, listen to me. This is what you're not understanding. You keep.
Yeah, my man, hella erratic. Like, yo. Okay, yeah, what's wrong with him? I ain't gonna lie. Like, he blew his brain on this one. It's like, bro, you should have knew better not to. I ain't gonna lie, insult somebody who's a father at the end of the day. Take away the political, take away his politics. Take away him being a Republican or MAGA, whatever. And what is he at the end of the day? He's just a man. He's just a father. It's like, come on now, we gotta humanize people again.
Bringing this up to me, like, well, Destiny, if you act like this, aren't conservatives just going to do? And then you say a thing, but they've done this for 8 years.
Right. So the other side is the other side is horrendous. Therefore, I'm going to be even more horrendous. Good. So unprincipled.
The horrendous part about the conservatives isn't just the rhetoric; it's the underlying factual denial of reality. That's the biggest. That's the huge issue. That's the big bad part.
Let me bring Charlie back to respond to that. Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the opposite. I think that, Destiny, you are completely fueled solely off of emotion, whereas I think that, I'll say conservatives, even though I think that it spans past conservatives, when they look at the facts of the summer of BLM, the BLM movement as a whole, January 6th, this assassination attempt, when you look at the facts, things unfold before your eyes and they reveal themselves to be actually what they are. There's a lot of evidence that has come forth since all of these events in the past have occurred. And they have shown that exactly what conservatives were saying were absolutely correct. Just like the assassination attempt on Saturday, we look at what went wrong. We look at not only was this one rooftop unguarded, but how did the gunman know that the rooftop was unguarded? Why was it that local law enforcement alerted the Secret Service moments before shots were fired?
There it is. There is actually a very good question.
Do you think January 6th? Do you think J6 was a false flag?
I think January 6th, there's a lot of discussions to be had. I think there's a lot of facts that came forward. They're definitely...
Yeah, I think it was just another way to demonize Trump at the end of the day. That's really all I think it was. It was just another way to put another label on Trump to make sure that he wouldn't run again. He did. And let's be real, none of his supporters believed it. Because, let's be real, we knew what it was. Everybody knew what it was. Even when I first seen it, and when I wasn't a Trump supporter, I was like, hold on, they was protesting. And you're telling me, hold on. Somebody let them in? Hey, I'm just saying, you should look into it. There's videos.
I will never give sympathy to this side. These guys are destroying the country.
Destiny.
There were agents present. We know for a fact.
Destiny, here's your problem with me.
There were agents present on January 6th. We saw the tourists being ushered into the Capitol building. They're being treated like terrorists. And in fact, several months ago, Vivek Ramaswamy said it's only fair that we're able to have a decent conversation about all of this.
Okay, let me say what
it's like nobody can ask him a question about the situation without him being like, oh, well, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a traitor, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, oh, well, what about January 6th? What about January 6th? It's like, bro, there was no politician that was hurt at the end of the day. This man basically almost got his ear shot off, and y'all want to compare that? It's crazy. But okay, whatever.
Have a conversation
let me just say what I think about January 6th, because I wrote it at the time and I believe it today. I thought it was a shameful attack on the heart of American democracy. It was an attempt to thwart democracy taking place. It should never have happened. Everyone involved in any violent act that day was utterly shameful. Donald Trump's rhetoric that day was appalling. All those things are completely true, Destiny. I can happily subscribe to that.
Neither of your other guests.
But here's the thing.
Then again, though, what's the difference between a violent protest and insurrection?
These guys agree with that.
But if I'm a Republican,
Piers, do you understand? Piers,
but if I'm a Republican, but here's the thing, Destiny.
Said.
If I'm a Republican listening to you, I'm thinking, hang on. This guy thinks we're all disgusting. We're reprehensible. We have no empathy. We have no this, no that. Absolutely, and yet he himself is proud of being even more disgusting.
Not absolutely. And then I would say, wow, well, nothing has changed since before COVID, before the vaccines, before J6, when they thought the election was stolen, when they thought that we were forced into lockdowns for no reason, when they thought that George Soros and the World Economic Forum and the IMF banks and everybody were taking over the country and the Federal Reserve was devaluing our currency. Like, it's all the same. Nothing has changed.
Let me ask you this.
I'm curious. Wait, can you ask
one last question,
do they agree
Destiny?
with any part? Do they agree with any part of your characterization of J6?
Destiny, one last question for you. Are you pleased that Donald Trump got shot?
Am I pleased? No, absolutely not.
What is your emotion to the shooting?
My emotion is emotionally what? In terms of his personal health, is absolute indifference.
No. Do you condemn the shooter shooting Donald Trump?
No. Not here, not on this program, not in front of these people. Absolutely
You do not condemn a deranged shooter shooting Donald Trump.
These people is crazy. Hold on, bro. Because... Let's go.
Do this.
I'm curious. Wait, can you ask
one last question,
do they agree
Destiny?
With any part, do they
one
agree
last
with
question
any part
for you.
Of your characterization of J6?
Destiny, one last question for you. Are you pleased that Donald Trump got shot?
Am I pleased? No, absolutely not.
What is your emotion to the shooting?
My emotion is emotionally what? In terms of his personal health, is absolute indifference.
No. Do you condemn the shooter shooting Donald Trump?
No. Not here, not on this program, not in front of these people.
You
Absolutely
do not condemn
Man,
a
he's
Not in
deranged
front of these
shooter
people.
shooting
You are
Donald
truly
Trump.
just a child. This is not.
Actually,
this is
it's
not a
not. No,
competition
you know
here.
what,
We're
Charlie?
just trying to be decent human
You know what,
beings.
Charlie? It's not actually the behaviour of a child. It's the behaviour of somebody who's completely lost his moral compass and any sense of decency.
You're right. A child wouldn't.
And I'm going to go to Dave Rubin. Dave, I want. Let me let Dave Rubin respond to what you just heard from Destiny.
I mean, it's actually one of the most disgusting things that I've ever heard in my life. My entire staff in my studio right now all gasped at that. When I happened to be at Target, the store Target we were checking out when I saw it on Twitter, and my heart actually sank. And I know that that is the feeling of probably 200 plus, if not 300 plus million Americans, even many of whom would vote against Trump and do not like Trump and all of those other things. The idea that you can't show sympathy or empathy for that is so profoundly sad. I would also add one other thing here, which is that the reason you're so emotive and screaming beyond the Red Bull, and dude, just ease up, man, it's not healthy for your heart, is that you really don't have good arguments. So you're petulant and screaming as opposed to just trying to work things out. We're allowed to ask questions about these things, but I would hope that you would try, as Piers is pointing out, instead of always reaching for the lowest common denominator and they're bad, so I'll be worse. I would hope that we could try to be a little bit better than that. And by the way, I think that you're seeing that right now at the Republican National Convention. They're not going crazy over all of this. They're applauding the fact that Trump's there. They're rallying around the new VP choice. And I think you're going to see a wide swath of America that maybe didn't come out for Trump before and they're not traditional conservatives.
I totally agree.
I think you're going to see them support Trump.
I totally agree. And I would say to you, Destiny.
Nothing is more
I would say to you, Destiny.
And the fact that the VP choice is a guy who's also said that Donald Trump is like Hitler.
Yeah, I would say.
Perfect cherry on top to everything.
For it and said he got it wrong.
Yeah, I would say this to you, Destiny. Lester Holt asked Joe Biden last night, has he had any soul searching? Right. I think after this debate, you may want to just go away quietly. And think about some of the answers you've given.
Yeah.
And think about the double standard of demanding a certain pattern of behavior from others that you do not sign up to.
More standards in American
you may or may not take my advice.
More standards.
You may or may not take my advice. I'm just saying, on reflection, you might conclude that the best way to persuade other people to behave in a better way is not to behave in an utterly degrading way yourself. That's all.
I think deleting a YouTube channel only takes one click, Destiny.
Right.
Yeah, right after you, Dave.
No, dog. No. They're not talking like that, G. They're talking about they might actually take your YouTube channel. Because, dog, hey, look, man. Y'all might want to switch over to Rumble for what I'm about to say. Because I'm about to go to hell off. Because, look, this man is wildly disrespectful. So, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the YouTube chat. And I'm about to go to hell off. So, don't worry. Y'all gonna be able to hear me. Because, you know, what I'm about to say is not going to be YouTube friendly whatsoever. So I'm just going to say that right now. I'm going to go ahead and admit that. I'm not going to be YouTube friendly at all. over to you too, because I'm gonna clean up a little bit. And go ahead and close it out. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, I had to go off there real quick. My bad. I had to go off there, because that man had me sick. Of course he hates Islam, man. We all know that boy hates Islam. He hates anything that has any order or that makes him act right. And bro, you see Destiny, boy, that man sits in a chair looking frail. When he was listening to them, he was like shaking, like he was just scared, or he just wanted to, I don't know what, man. Like that man done had way too many energy drinks. Like that wasn't the only shot of energy he had before that stream, if you know what I mean, my man. Might have had a little bit of that cocaine with the Red Bull at a certain point. But shoot though. Anyway, let me know y'all thoughts let me know y'all thoughts about Destiny. Let me know y'all thoughts about the whole Trump situation and everything, man. I love to know what y'all think. Cause man, at S.E.T Media, we get into it all. But anyway though, I'm out. I got some other shows for y'all lined up, man. This is Set with S.E.T Media, man. We are out. Peace. We appreciate the support.